just seeing like all these different cultures, countries, and that was a pretty like profound experience. Start at one end and I'd swam all the way to the other, but it took me like 4 years to get it done. Made about halfway and lost like all the skin on my back and arms from chafing from the wetsuits. You also have to look at the person in the situation, not just the situation. It's like I've been through so many of these times where I've done these endeavors on my own, and I've practiced going through hallucinations and dealing with all these things solo. So when I have a crew, I feel even more safe. And then in the morning, I got stung by Portuguese man-o-war jellyfish. These jellyfish that give you a neurotoxin. So if you get hit once or twice, it's not too bad. Like it hurts, but I got hit like so many times, my whole body, arms, face. It gave me this like paralysis in my legs. It's the weirdest thing I've ever felt. My legs just stopped working. I've definitely struggled with mental health stuff myself. Been in places where you don't know what the future holds and you're trying to deal with how I know this is what I want to do is these are things that make me feel better.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Get Real Show. We are here with Nick today, who is a major ultra athlete and is actually in town for a High Rocks race, but you've done some absolutely incredible things. I myself just started dabbling into the endurance space, so I can just respect so much the crazy endeavors that you've done and made not crazy to do. Thank you for coming on and getting real.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So a lot of people's first thoughts when they see everything you do, like where do you feel like the why comes from as to why you'd want to achieve all of this?
Yeah, I think it's just a passion thing. I mean, I've grown up, following like a typical life of going to school, going to university. I played college baseball, just kind of like doing the things that you'd normally do, to, get a job, do all that. And I love all my friends and they have, the typical jobs back home and everything. But I started to just kind of see people online, kind of like David Goggins people or like Ross Edgley's a big motivator of mine that do these kind of like crazy endeavors.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they'd be going through like the lowest of lows at times, but then you have these like super high triumphs. So I just like wanted to started doing those things myself. So I, would just go out and do these endurance events on my own, just try and be self-supported. Like I didn't have the funding for huge endeavors, so I just do things on my own. And then I think a lot of it came from just having a passion. I started to realize like these are the things I want to do, learning more about myself in these voluntary adversity settings to see how I could push through and what I could learn from them. And then you can also utilize all those skills in involuntary adversity, things that like you can't control happening to you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just like on a normal day of life, you'd have, if it's a scale of 1 to 10, you'd be maybe on the high range of like the good things, like a 7, low range, like a 4. It's never like, unless it's a really bad day of life, like a family member dies or something, you don't get those like full range of emotion. But
Yeah.
in these ultra endurance events, you like swing on a pendulum from like worst of worst feeling to like highs. And it's like a wave, right? Riding this wave. So it's almost like an expedited living where if a pro athlete trains 20 hours a week, let's say, you times that by 4 in a month, it's like 80 hours a month. But if you're doing an event that's 100 hours long within like, let's say 5 days, it's like you're shoving all these ups and downs and lessons and like adversity and triumphs into this one spot. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, feels like you're living like 100 lives. So I think
Yeah.
it's just passion. I've started realizing like this is the life I want to live. And now it's just been trying to figure out how to make it, monetized in a career. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is what I always say as well. I loved what you said about how it's basically like a life inside a race. Like, I feel like it just emulates your entire life in a short period of time,
Yeah.
and getting to experience those extremes I think is amazing. But that's really neat that obviously you grew up watching the David Goggins and stuff, and now you run with him.
Yeah.
What is that like to obviously get to the level where you're now quite similarly doing the things that your younger day heroes used to do?
Yeah, it was very surreal. So I ran Moab 240 in October. Um, and I first like heard about Moab off of like Joe Rogan when Goggins was on there, and read his books and heard about these, and I just thought like one day I've got to do that race. And then I did it 2 years ago, and I had a knee injury like about like 40 miles in. I slipped off this rock and like hyperextended my knee. So I was like in bad shape for the rest of the race until I timed out, because you have to make it to certain aid stations by certain times.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like just hobbling along. I said I wasn't going to quit unless I got timed out, which I did at like 100 miles. So I went like 60 miles, 100 kilometers on this like bad knee. But then I signed back up for it this next year, which was this past October in 2025. And then I found out that Goggins was going to be racing it. So I saw him before, like met him for a minute or two before the race, just like shook his hand, got a photo with him. And then during the race, though, I actually spent probably like 10, 15 miles like running with him. We didn't say too much. He's a pretty like stoic guy, but it was just like super surreal knowing that the guy that inspired you to do a lot of these things is now right next to you. And he's like such a big figure, almost like just like a celebrity, especially in this type of space. But he's just like, it seems like he doesn't want that at all, right? He's just there for the work.
Yeah.
And it's cool to realize that like nobody's bigger or better than each other. Once the race is started, it's like you're all the same athletes on the start line. You're all doing the same endeavor. You're doing it for yourself. Like, of course there's competition, but no, it's just very surreal, like being there. And it also gave me confidence knowing that like, hey, like I'm at the same point in the race as he is. Like we're given the same terrain we're going across. It's like I do belong here. I've put in the work to be here, and it's just kind of like a why not me mentality of like, I can do this as well. So
yeah, 100%. And now you're that person to other people. Do you feel like that's part of the messaging that you're trying to put out? Like, what do you feel like the core message at the end that you want to get out to the world?
Yeah, it's a little weird. I do have kind of imposter syndrome with that. It's like I just feel like the most normal guy ever. But yeah, it's cool to see like all the people on Instagram or messages I get saying that I've inspired them to do their first race or their first run or like anything like that. It's been pretty cool. And because I do running, cycling, swimming, I cover like a number of sports. So it's not just like runners I get people from all different aspects.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been very cool. But I think the main thing is just like following a passion for you. If you feel like your life's meant for more than what the status quo is, like don't just accept that, right? You shouldn't never settle for things, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Like a lot of people see in my Instagram or things like that and think that, you made a ton of money doing stuff like that. It's like I still live in a converted school bus. Like I drove down from Canada to LA to try and make more connections to hopefully get bigger brand deals and get bigger sponsors and connections, but that'll all just go right back into the endeavors. Like if I won the lottery or if I was dead broke, I'd be doing this no matter what. I think you should try and find whatever that is in your life that like you just have an undeniable passion that no matter what comes, you're going to do it. So
Yeah.
I think just, trying to find that. And I know that can be hard. Like lots of people tell me like, I want to do something like this, but I don't like running, let's say, but I don't know what to do. And for that, I just had to go out and try a lot of things. Like if you try a bunch of stuff, you might not like that, but you don't like it. So you can, push it aside. And that's one more thing you don't have to think about, right? And I think traveling was important for me too. I just did a lot of like backpacking. I went to Morocco fresh out of high school for like a month and by myself and met people and just, try different experiences and just you get perspective on back home as well as the place you're visiting. So it's very cool. Yeah, I'd say just travel and try lots of things and don't be afraid to like rough it out, Like even this weekend I was invited to a big content house where there are some huge influencer celebrities and the millions of followers like making tons of money. And we were doing, some of us were doing the high rocks, but I got invited through a friend, Brad Kraut, who's also like an influencer and an athlete. But like I said, a week ago, I was helping a friend run a 300-mile race in in Arizona Monster 300. So there's like 5 of us in a little RV. I ran like 90 miles with him, pacing him. And then I get to come to this like unbelievable mansion. And where like a lot of the people who are in that house that might be more like used to that is like, I have the perspective and of like, oh, I've just came from like this tiny little thing and now I'm in this amazing mansion basically. So it's like you have that perspective on things, I think, when you do a lot. But I think it's being all right with, it might take a while to get to the point you want to be at and make money and do all that, but being happy there too. You know, I was just as happy in that RV with those guys, having that like camaraderie as I was in the huge house with everybody. Like they're different, but they're both awesome. And that's what I said, like with my school bus going down to LA, I went down not knowing anybody, just being like, if worst cases I go down, I have to live in my bus and like I get to run in the heat and like do all these things, and you know, I'm fine with that. But then I did meet lots of connections and new people, and it's opened a ton of new doors. So it's just kind of betting on yourself, I'd say, is the main thing, and believing in it and doing things that build confidence for you, whatever that may be. You know, a lot of things is like, for me, doing these races and knowing that, hey, I can do it, but you never really know that until you step out and try it, you know? So just try lots of things, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really important what you said about the imposter syndrome bit is I think everyone experiences imposter syndrome until I don't even know if there isn't until I don't know if it ever goes away. Because I'm nowhere near what you're doing, but I just did my first 530-mile bike and people will say the same thing to me and I'm like, oh, like I just did that thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like when you're doing it, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything crazy. So then I wonder as you keep going if it ever even goes away. But I do think it's important to talk about, to let other people that are trying to get into this space know that you're never really going to feel ready. You're never really going to feel like you're in with that level of person, and that's not a reason to deter you, and that you should still be going after it anyway and still doing it. And I couldn't agree more too with what you said about being in the van versus the mansion. Like some of my best memories I feel like are being out running or biking or doing whatever with really good connections and really good friends and relationships, rather than like the materialistic stuff. It's cool sometimes in doses, but it's never really gonna set your soul on fire the way the other stuff is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like, I like to say it's awesome to enjoy those things. But again, like the best part of that place and was like late at night just having conversations with the people in it, right? Like people that I normally wouldn't get access to or like meet, that I got to do that. Like the house it's sick and it's fun to hang out at, but it's like, the relationships I think are the most important thing. So
yeah, I saw you pacing your friend because I follow your page, and then knew you were coming to this. I was like, this guy just doesn't stop.
I did 90 miles, but it was actually, because usually like 90 miles would take, I don't know, like less than 24 hours, but because this was a 300-mile race, he was like 100 and something, 150, almost 200 miles in when I got to my pacing shift. So it was like he was moving pretty slow. He's just slightly taller than me, so like a lot of it was walking for him, but like a fast pace walk, and my strides aren't as big as his, so I couldn't keep up doing just the walking. But when I just do like a slow run, it was too quick. So it was this weird like in between thing that I had to like run a few steps, walk one or few, for like, it ended up being like 40 plus hours that we were out there because he was moving like at a slower pace. So I was like 40 plus hours on my feet, and then finished that and drove back to Phoenix and flew out here, and then had High Rocks, and my first one, but probably the only person that ran around 100 miles before doing it. But,
I think definitely the only one.
It was fun. Definitely different types of events for sure. Like High Rocks is an hour. The other one I just did was like 40 hours. So but that's why I like the versatility of things. So
Yeah. And it's really neat too that you take the time to obviously be of service to others and help your friends. And that's what I think is so neat about the community. I feel like when you're really pushing the boundaries of life and trying to do these things, you just want to uplift other people that are also going for it. So I think that's really cool that you not only do the things and the events, but then you take the backseat and let other people have their time as well.
Yeah, I think, I would like a lot of my endeavors when I first started out, it's like volunteers that help you, right? It's
Yeah.
my friends who I said, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. Like, would you come help kayak while I'm swimming?" Or like, it's I don't have the money to pay you guys, but it'll probably be like a cool experience. And then I've had like friends who have been part of those things say like, "Dude, that's some of, like the best moments of my life. Like being out
Mhm.
there at night, like kayaking, paddling, but being part of this thing and like the whole community is now growing around it because it's getting more publicity and like they're part of it. They feel like, it's just like a cool thing to be a part of. So
Yeah.
I feel the same about my friends' things. Like Ryan Keeping's his name. He's ran across Canada, has a record for running around Iceland. And I
Mhm.
just like met him a few weeks ago, but we'd both been like following each other online, but met him in person and it just like clicked, when you have so many things that overlap like that, just
Yeah.
you line up quickly. And then I spent a ton of time running with him, 40 hours straight on the trail. So you get to know somebody pretty quick. But
Mhm.
like he'll pace me in the future and I'll pace him. It's just like I said, I'd be doing this stuff whether I made money from it or whether I had to pay to do it. So it's
Mhm.
like getting an opportunity to go see these athletes that are pushing themselves to the absolute brink of what humans are capable of, like running 300 miles straight without barely any
Mhm.
sleep, and like seeing the intestinal fortitude that takes and how people have to like switch their mind to like convince themselves to keep going. It's just like it's inspiring. Like I signed up for another race mid race helping him. It's
Mhm.
just like you just want to be a part of that. So yeah, I think whenever my friends want me to help with something, I'm always down to do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I take a lot from it personally as well, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I saw there was a video too of you talking about the death risk and the risks that obviously come with these events and just obviously acknowledging that those exist. How do you feel about obviously when you enter these events, how do you feel about knowing that you might not finish?
Yeah, well, yeah, might not finish and might die, I guess, are 2 different things. I also
Yeah.
do base jumping, which is, like, one of the most, dangerous sports in the world.
Mhm.
There are ways to do it as safe as possible, but, I mean, when you're jumping off of cliffs and things, it's you can never be 100% guaranteed that something won't go wrong.
Mhm.
But that's what you train for and prepare for is, like, what you do if something does go wrong and, like, how to combat, issues, right? It's basically just
Mhm.
like minimizing risk and all these things you do. But like I said, I think the things that separate what I do from a lot of other people is I'm, and a lot of people say like, oh, I'd rather die before finishing this race, or like, I died doing this. And it's like, do I think I'm going to die doing a lot of the things I'm doing? It's like, no, but I'm willing to put myself in situations that have like the risk of death to achieve the goals I want.
Yeah.
Like cycling across Africa per se. I had no idea what animals I'd come across. I was out there
Mhm.
solo. I went from Cairo in Egypt all the way to Cape Town. It was like completely solo trip, just me and my panniers on my bike and cameras and things. But you're going through like in Botswana, there's like it's a section called like the Gauntlet of Elephants. There's like a 300-kilometer stretch of like elephants right across the road, and they can get very territorial when their babies are there. They can run faster than I can cycle. Like you're going by lions, and you never know. Or the people like going through
Yeah.
Ethiopia. It's a very like war torn country, and you never know the things that are going to happen. But
Mhm.
to me, and like my Hawaii swims between Molokai and Oahu, let's say I got stung by a ton of Portuguese manwort jellyfish and they have sharks in the water. And it's like a bunch of these things is like you could definitely die doing stuff like that. But to me, it's either this is the goal I want. And if I want to achieve it, these are the risks that come with it. And I either accept that and say I'm willing to take those risks, or you say I'm not, so I'm not going to do it. But
Mhm.
it's like, it's up to you to make that decision. And lots of people, that's why I do like a little bit of coaching stuff, but
Mhm.
it's hard for me to give people the same mindset or same thing that I have, because I'm so passionate about the stuff that I'm doing, and I know this is what I want to do in my life. That's like, if I were to die doing something like this, it would still be worth it to me. Whereas like I can never tell an athlete to do that, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, that's just irresponsible. Like people have to make that choice on their own.
Yeah.
But I also think that's what separates, right? It's like not everybody's going to put themselves in those risks. But to me, it's like, I'm going to do this stuff. This is what I want to do. I want to like combat nature and Mother Nature and like just be a conqueror of the natural world, right? Like you're never going to be able to guarantee that it's going to be a successful endeavor or whatever it is. If it has anything to do with Mother Nature, some days it'll let you go, some days it won't. But I think it's cool, like walking that tightrope of like seeing how far you can push yourself and prepare to be in that situation, be as like robust as possible and prepared physically, mentally, emotionally, and then like leave it all out there.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever happens, you know. But it's yeah, I think like for the most part, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be all right with the stuff I do. Like it's kind of like Alex Honnold when he climbed El Cap. It's like if at any point I felt like I was going to die or I was in trouble, like something would have had to go wrong, right?
Yeah.
He was confident that he can do it. It's like I'm not going to do a lot of these things that I'm not super confident with.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, like random stuff can always happen. Like I can't control, like if I'm cycling per se, how the cars going by me are going to be on their
Mm-hmm.
phone, or if they're drunk driving, or you never know, right?
Yeah.
And accidents always happen. But again, I think it's like, if you look at Africa as a whole, that was like a 79-day trip.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about how many cars would go past you in one day, times that by 79. It's like hundreds of thousands of chances that something could happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you take it like one day at a time, just focus on today's problems, getting through today, like making sure that this car passes you, you're safe on, and you know, and just do it and do it and do it and do it, and it stacks up over time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably how I look at that.
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing that you have a passion that nothing would really stop you. And I think the everyday thinker, I don't know if that's what you would call it, the average thinker, that theory doesn't even really hold up about that. Is what I hear a lot, is how dangerous these endeavors are. But crossing the street, you could die. Like and going to work, you could get hit by a car. Like there's risk factor in everything. You're heightening your risk factor, obviously putting yourself in the arena to do these things, but you're also heightening your risk for greatness and to achieve these amazing goals and to set your soul on fire during your time while you're alive, which I think is really neat, and I think is way more worth it than just skedaddling through life, like letting time pass you by.
Yeah, and and for like things like base jumping, let's say, it's like a very dangerous thing as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But like my mentors or friends that I know, they're like more talented in that than I am, or more skilled. They've been doing it longer,
Mm-hmm.
and they push to like 99% of their skill level. Like if anything goes wrong, it's like a very small margin for error.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, because I do so many different things, it's like I might not be the best at one of them, but I want to be at like the top, you know, in most of them, like the top percentile in all of them. I'm probably not going to be the best ultra runner out there. I'm probably not going to be the best ultra cyclist, but I want to be able to do things like, you know, do a run in Arizona and then go to Europe for a few months and base jump and then come back and do a swim event. Like I don't want to minimize my life just to stick to one thing. But yeah, some of my friends are like 99 percentile pushing their skill level, whereas like I might stay to 70%. Like I know I could probably do an extra flip or an extra this or that, but it's like, you know, I'm just gonna do what I know I'm comfortable with and like leave margin for error, because sometimes there are things that happen that you can't foresee, and then if you left no room for error, then that's when bad things happen. So just try and be as smart as possible, you know. I'm sure people would say jumping off cliffs isn't smart to begin with, but it's like, no.
Yeah, they don't get it.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really cool that you do so many different things. And yeah, like it is the truth that if you're chasing multiple different activities at one time, chances are you're probably not going to be the number one in one. But I always think it's better to diversify yourself and experience different things than only hone in on one, because I just feel like that's just a different form of addiction almost, where you're narrowing your entire life to this one thing.
Mhm.
Whereas when you're doing what you do, you get so many different experiences and you're just collecting these amazing achievements across every category is super, super neat.
Yeah. I think it's just like, I think about, well, how am I supposed to keep up like swimming if I'm doing running at this high level, this or that? But I think it just like fills my days more. It's like I just got to get up
Yeah.
earlier, do more training, do more prep, do like,
Hmm.
you know, but even think about like Michael Jordan was considered the best basketball player ever. And in the prime of his career, he left to play baseball for a couple
Yeah.
of years, right? It's like still had that same mindset that he wanted to explore new things and try different things. And I
Hmm.
think about like my Moab that I failed the first year, I DNF'd it, to the next year. It was like 1 year of time. And
Hmm.
I could have done, just my daily training around the place I'm at, like go out, run the trails, come back, and like do that for a year. But instead, I went and had that experience in Africa for those 3 months.
Hmm.
Summited Mount Kilimanjaro, went to the lowest point in the continent, Lakasol in Djibouti, like met all these different people, had this like huge training block of like a 600 hours in the saddle on the bike, then came home and had like 3 months to prepare for Moab. And now instead of just having like these daily training sessions, which are great, but now I have this like tangible journey that I went on that I wouldn't give up for anything, and all these memories over like 3 month period, like stuff I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, and like some of
Hmm.
the coolest stuff I've ever done. And it also helped me do Moab because it was prepping my legs, my cardiovascular system, like
Hmm.
everything. So it's like I could never like give up that stuff just to be, you know, the best in one. And who's to say like that cycling chip wasn't the thing that helped me do Moab. So it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. For me, I just like the versatility. I just want to be able to be thrown into any situation, whether it's snow or desert or sky or ocean or anything, right? And just be like competent and be able to handle myself,
Yeah. Out of all the events you've done, what do you feel like has been the most transformative event?
Mm, transformative. Probably like Africa was very like profound. Just seeing like going through. So I went through 9 countries. I started in Egypt at the pyramids in Giza, and because Sudan has a war going on, I couldn't get a visa to go through there. So I had to go across the Red Sea on a ferry and then go down Saudi Arabia, then back across to Djibouti. Then I went Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, um, Zambia, Botswana, South Africa. And I remember coming from Saudi Arabia, which was like different for sure than here, but still like they had normal cities. Like I went through Jeddah. It's like that's where they have F1. Like it was a normal place,
Hmm.
right? And then I got to Djibouti, which is this like tiny country um, in Africa, and it was super hot. It was like over 40 degrees Celsius, and like there's goats on the road and just people everywhere, and it's like just trucking and it just like I was going to the lowest point in Lakasol, it's called. It's the lowest point in Africa. It's like one of the second saltiest bodies of water in the world. It's like 150 meters below sea level. So you climb up this like huge mountain, and then you have this huge descent down to the lake. And I remember on going down that road, there's like these literal just like clay huts and like camels out there and goats and just like people with hardly any water, just like a one jug, no schools, no nothing. It's just like seeing the different way that people are living, and then just coming from like a place with Saudi Arabia, which has like quite a bit of luxury, or coming
Hmm.
from Canada or US, and then seeing this and realizing that these people are, on the same planet as we are at the same time. Like it's just a different spot in the world, and just knowing the difference in lives we're living was pretty like profound for me. I remember riding by that just being like, it's crazy. And I'm getting all the eyes on me because at the time I had bleach blonde hair. I was the only person with white skin that I saw for a month and a half out there. It
Mhm.
was pretty crazy. So I think just going through that whole trip, but also at the same time realizing that these people were as happy as anybody I'd see back home, people that
Mhm.
have all of the luxuries, have all the things that you like strive to get. You realize like you don't need that stuff to be happy. Obviously it's nice and like it's probably healthier to sleep in a proper bed and house and have good food, but it's like these kids were just playing in like puddles and like rolling tires down the road and just like laughing so hard, or you'd give them like $1 and they'd just be like ecstatic on like how happy they were and grateful and thankful. Um, so I think just that trip, just seeing like all these different cultures through 9 countries and just knowing that I was the one that moved my body like across a full continent.
Yeah.
That was a pretty like, yeah, I guess profound experience. And then in the acute, I guess it would be that swim I did across Okanagan Lake, which was a
Mhm.
113-kilometer swim. It's in British Columbia. It's a lake called Okanagan Lake. So you start at one end and I'd swam all the way to the other. But it took me like 4 years to get it done. 3 attempts. The first year I did it, I made about halfway and lost like all the skin on my back and arms from chafing from the wetsuits. Second year we did it, we have a bunch of forest fires out there, like in the summer. But again, you put all this time into this one day and the scheduling of like 30, 40 people and sponsors and everything. So when the day comes, you kind of got to go. But it ended up being like the worst air quality in the world that day. So you couldn't even see like 100 feet in front of you because of the whiteout smoke. And then my shoulder got an injury and my wrist popped out and like
Oh my
didn't make it
god.
that time. And then I took a year off, did some other endeavors and things. And then finally got it done on the third attempt. But I think that was just like a huge project and lesson for me to learn about like failures are all right and they're part of the journey. But like if you say you're
Mhm.
going to do something, you have to do it. Like you have to stick to it, no matter if it takes 1 attempt, 2 attempt, 3 years, 4 years to do that. Like eventually it's going to be worth it in the end when you finally get it done, and you're going to learn a lot more along the way if you just keep going, but know that you're going to have to do it eventually. So I
Mhm.
think if you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. And I learned that from that one. So that was
Yeah.
probably one of the most transformative, that swim and then my Africa trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of those are insane and
Yeah.
incredible, but I think in the swim is super neat that you just didn't give up and
Hmm.
that you put yourself out there. And
Yeah.
that's what a big thing I think is, having to detach yourself from the ego of failing temporarily to achieve
Hmm.
this goal in the end. Because I would assume that not many people on this planet could go out first time and do something like that, and it is trial and error, and there are external factors and so many things that we can't control, but the one thing that you can control is not giving up
Hmm.
and going back to do it again. So that is absolutely insane. That's the first thing I saw
Yeah.
finding your page was like you coming out of the water with the
Yeah.
champagne,
Yeah. The
and
push-ups.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was unbelievable. And that really does just like electrify some an emotion in people, that you can fail and you can get back up and you can go out and do it again and achieve it, even if it is something as astronomical as that. So that is next level.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was like, yeah, it was hard because, you can call different things failures. Like, I just did High Rocks like this weekend, and our goal was sub 1 hour, and we got like 101 or something.
Mhm.
So I guess you could consider that a failure. But it's like, I know standing on the start line of High Rocks, even if you had to walk it, like, I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
Whereas, like, that swim and some of these other projects, it's like, I don't physically know if I'm even capable of this. Like, I believe I am, and I'm going to go out and give it my all. But it's
Mhm.
like, you never know, right? It's like you're pushing the limits of what people do,
Yeah.
and especially if it's not something that a ton of people have ever done. Um, like, like running a marathon, lots of people do. Like, you
Mhm.
have proof to know that it's possible. Whereas some of
Yeah.
these other things I've done, it's like, there's not a lot of proof that it's even possible. So it's
Yeah.
just like believing in yourself. But, you know, like you said, putting yourself out there, I could have easily hedged my bets and been like, tell my crew that I'm doing it and like I need their help, but not put it out publicly, right? Until
Yeah.
like I got it done, then say, hey, look what I did. Because then
Yeah.
if I failed it, I wouldn't have the like, backlash from all the haters online or the people or like just the weight of all that publicly. But I think it's like it's cool to I try and be genuine in everything I do. So I try and bring people along from the time I booked the endeavor, the training, the endeavor, and then the reflection on it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if that involves failure and things, I think it's important to show that. I think I've got a lot of like feedback from people that say like the most inspiring posts are the ones where I've, had a failure and told people like I will be back and like this is what happened and I'm owning it and not blaming anything else. And then they do see me come back and do it. I think that's what really inspires people to be like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to try different things. And maybe I can utilize this same mindset in my own life.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think a lot of these things are considered hard, but what is one of the hardest parts of the human experience, I think, is dealing with self-doubt, dealing with overcoming things like ego or putting yourself out there. And that's why so many people avoid uncomfortability. But to be able to sit in that and say, like, I didn't do it, but I'm going to do it.
Hmm.
That is something that so few people do and is an achievement in itself,
Yeah.
is getting back up and doing that again. When you're out there, do you ever experience self-doubt during your training blocks or during the actual races? What is that like for you?
Yeah. Well, one thing on what you said before, I'll get to self doubt thing, but I think a big thing also is a lot of people will say they're going to do something and it almost gives them the like dopamine hit that they've done it already. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that marathon. And then, like
Mm-hmm.
in your mind, it's almost like you've done it already, even though you haven't. So I think it's important to like, if you say you're going to do something, sign up or however you need to start it, like message a crew, set a date, like have a deadline,
Mm-hmm.
because then you're counting down to it. So that way it's like, it's not just some inevitable thing that you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It's like, no, if you're going to do it, set the date and do it, that gives you
Mm-hmm.
like cause then you gotta be like, oh damn, it's coming up. Like I gotta train for it. I gotta prepare. So, and then what was the other self-doubt you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always really confident in my abilities of what I'm capable of. But again, that came from just a lot of time doing the things and, gaining that confidence through like tough efforts and failing and realizing what I can do and can't do. But yeah, I mean, the most nervous I've ever been for an endeavor is definitely before those 3 swims, the 2 that I failed and the one I did, especially the one I finally got because I had, the memories of 2 that I'd already failed. So it's like, man, can I actually even do this? Like, is it
Mm-hmm.
possible? Um, but again, I think it's just focusing on like what's right in front of you. Don't like worry about the noise. Don't worry about like, oh, this huge endeavor you have or this undertaking that you have to cover this much space. It's really like focus on what's right in front of you. Like for the swim, okay, let's just get through this hour, get to my feeding where I'm like treading water, feeding, just like take it 1 hour at a time.
Mm-hmm.
For Africa, it's like, just focus on what's right in front of you, get through today, solve today's problems. Like, what do I have? Is it a climbing day? Like, did something on the bike break? What do I have to fix? It's just getting through. It's just focusing on staying in like that realm of possibility right in front of you. Because if you look too far ahead, things become like really daunting. Like, oh man, look how far it is. I don't know how I could get there. Same with like
Mm-hmm.
Moab, like thinking, oh, you got 200 more miles once you're already 40 miles in. It's like,
Yeah.
how can I think about that? But so no, just get to the next aid station. Next aid station's only 13 miles. Like, just keep taking steps, keep taking steps. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just like, yeah, it's thinking about not how far you have left, but could I take like another step? Could I go another hour? Could I get through today? It's just focusing on that. And then it starts to give you confidence and build momentum. And I think when you do these endeavors or like anything in life that you're starting and there's an end point, it's like you start with a ton of energy on one end, but you have like low or no momentum, right? At least you haven't started yet.
Mm-hmm.
And as the journey goes on, like your energy is starting to deplete because you're getting more tired, more tired, more tired, but your momentum is getting higher and higher and higher. So like at a certain point they flip. It goes from like being the excitement of this new endeavor and the thing that you've been prepping for so long that's motivating you to now like, hey, I'm like 2 days in and like I only got 1 day left. Like I made it this far. I didn't come this far just to come this far. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to finish. So they kind of flip. That's the thing. It's like a yin and yang with your body and your mental too. It's like when your body starts to shut down, you can use your like mental side to like push you through. Like remember all the failures you've had, remember the things like why you're there in the first place. But it's a flip side because like sometimes your body can be fine, but your mental can be going against you, being like, oh man, you have so much more to go. Like this is so tough. Like I don't know how you're gonna get through this, but it's like it's kind of a yin and yang type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I think about that probably.
Yeah. Because it seemed your swim took what, 72 hours?
Yeah.
And I saw when your crew was even saying like it's too dangerous, you should stop.
Hmm.
In those moments, how are you the one deciding, no, I want to keep going?
Yeah, so with a lot of these endeavors, I've had like my parents on them as well. Like obviously my cycling trips I've been solo, and like Moab, I was out there running solo. I had a crew, but my dad is he's like 78 and he still does triathlons like across the world, so they were at his own race. But like for the swims, they've always been there. My mom's been like a land support, and my dad's been on the boat for like all the attempts. So I always gave him kind of like authority to be like he knows me like best and what I'm capable of and
Mm-hmm.
how far I'm willing to push myself to get something done. But I gave him the kind of like okay to call it if there was actually something dire happening.
Mm-hmm.
But that was also good because he was the one who kind of had my back when the rest of the crew, and to no fault, is just like they love me and they're worried about me, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm hallucinating, I'm almost falling asleep while I'm swimming. But I think you also have to look at the person in the situation, not just the situation. It's like I've been through so many of these times where I've done these endeavors on my own and I've practiced going through hallucinations and dealing with all these things solo. So when I have a crew, I feel even more like even more safe. Like I got all these people around to help me. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can push it even harder because I can take it right to the limit then. But yeah, the crew was worried about just like me falling asleep on this swim basically and like aspirating water and drowning.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I didn't have that thought at all. Like I felt like I was hurting a lot and like hallucinating, but I think it's kind of cool that you're at the point of seeing hallucinations. It means you've pushed along hard and tight. Like they're earned, they're not given, right? That's what I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, they were at like when we were at the halfway point, they were worried that, like I said, I'd like drown from falling asleep while swimming. And then they told my dad to like present it to me that, hey, we're gonna like pull you after this bridge, which is a halfway point. And then immediately I told my dad, like, no, like you guys can go if you want. Like I'm gonna keep going. Like
Yeah.
one of my friends here will stay with me with a kayak or cooler. Like I don't care. I'm gonna keep going. So then they had to kind of like go along with it. But yeah, it's hard. Like tensions get heated at points, and my dad was like had my back throughout the whole way. Like he could tell when I came in, just like the look I was giving him. I'm like, I'm going to keep going. So then at that point, if anybody didn't want to stay, he was telling them like, I'm going to be the one to stay with him. If you guys don't want to stay, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But I can see from their side, like, again, they're all volunteers. I'm not paying them. They're out of their own goodwill. Like they don't want to see one of their friends drown or die. It's
Mhm.
just like that could be scarring for them as well. You never
Yeah.
know about the liability things. Like obviously I'd never sue them or my family would never, but I mean those things probably go through their mind and things like
Mhm.
that. But it's like, yeah, I think my dad's always had my back with stuff like that. And he has like been the one to call it when he has seen that look in my eye where like I probably couldn't keep going. Like I did the Molokai Channel from Molokai to Oahu. It's a 42 kilometers, like a marathon channel swim.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did it, I got pulled like 6 miles, 10K from the end, like just right before the end. It was like pretty heartbreaking. We were right there. But when we were doing it, there was like huge swells in the ocean. The limit that the captain would go at is like 18 knots is the like upper limit for the wind. And the best day we had that week, because you choose like a week to do it, was like 17 knots at start. So it was like right at the limit. And then obviously during the swim, it got worse. So I was going through these like huge swells, and you're trying to like tread water while eating. You have a rope with a water bottle that you're getting
Mm-hmm.
like liquid nutrition in, and then the waves would come over and you'd be swallowing all the salt water. So I'm puking up all my nutrition, and then you're going through the night also. So it's like a 12 plus hour swim. You start in the evening just before sunset. So you swim through the night so you can enter into Hawaii during the day, because there's like reefs and things you have to see with the boat and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the morning, I got stung by Portuguese man-o-war jellyfish, which are like these jellyfish that give you a neurotoxin. So if you get hit once or twice, it's not too bad. Like it hurts, but
Yeah.
I got hit like so many times, my whole body, arms, face, that it gave me this like paralysis in my legs. It's the weirdest thing I've ever felt. My legs just stopped working. So I was like this in the water and planing, and then they just like drop. So I'm just trying to swim my upper body. I'm like puking, taking on all this water. My face is swelling shut from the stings. It was just like super painful. And at that point,
Wow.
I wasn't going quick enough to even push through the waves. Like we were getting pushed away from Oahu
Yeah.
because of the swells and waves. And my dad like made that tough call. Like, I don't want to see my son die. Like he's getting pulled.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a tough one. But again, I never be like fault him. Like
Yeah.
he did what was best. And again, it's better to live to fight another day than to do what you said. I want to die doing this event. It's like, well,
Yeah.
what good does that do? At that point, I'm at, obviously wasn't going to make it,
Yeah.
and he knew that. So, he pulled me out. I did my recovery, and I'm planning to do that again this summer. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I said, if I say I'm going to do something, I will do it eventually. It's just, sometimes you fail and you have to go back to the drawing board. But yeah, that
Yeah.
one was tough for sure.
Yeah, no, it sounds
Yeah.
like it. That's the thing with these endeavors is there's so many external factors. It's not like a marathon where you
No.
just say you're going to do it, you sign up and you do it.
Yeah.
And the biggest risk is something happening with your body or the weather. Like you're out in the elements of
Yeah.
nature, which is extraordinary. I saw the one swim you did was for you raised a bunch of money for mental health.
Mhm.
Is that a passion of yours, or do you feel like you've ever struggled with mental health?
Yeah, so all the endeavors I've done, basically, I've raised money for something. My very first swim, we did a concussion clinic because I like had terrible concussions when I was playing baseball in school. That's actually kind of what ended my baseball career and got me into endurance sports because there was less impact. Because I was always like getting hit in the face with baseballs, or like I got them in football, all this stuff. So raised money for that one year. I cycled across America. We raised money for Pencils of Promise, was a organization builds schools around the world. I'd raised money for Charity Water on one of my cycles. And then, yeah, CMHA Kelowna was like mental health in the big swim I did. We raised like, I think $45,000, which is pretty sweet.
Wow.
Yeah, I've definitely struggled with mental health stuff myself. I've been been in places where you don't know what the future holds, and you're trying to deal with. I think how I know this is what I want to do is these are things that make me feel better. It's like when I'm trying to do the normal jobs or normal life, is like I'd get way more depressed and like just felt like I didn't have much purpose in life, didn't have much to strive for, just get into like a bad routine or rhythm. But on these trips, it felt like I was always just dialed in on this one goal and like had
Mhm.
one singular focus. And it was very like good for me mentally because, I didn't have to think about what to do each day, or it was just like set out for me. It's like, well, I got to do this today to get to here. So it's just
Mhm.
like very simple for me. But yeah, I've dealt with like lots of friends have had it too, mental health issues, and have been there for them and heard how they're dealing with things and the type of things that would have helped them as well. So yeah, I've definitely wanted to support that as much as possible and let
Mm-hmm.
people know that it's all right to, not always feel the best, and it's okay. Especially in like men's sports or things, it's like a stigma. You just got to tough through everything. It's like, I think being somebody who can push through like a lot of tough things, it's like undeniable the difficulty of the things I'm doing is, but also being able to say like, hey, if you need help with something, it's okay to go talk to somebody, or.
Mm-hmm.
But again, on the flip side, I do try and deal with a lot of stuff alone. I think like on these trips that I've been on, it's just like almost a therapy for me, going through
Mm-hmm.
all these different places and having full days of like activity and just fresh air and just being out. So I do kind of like when I finish a trip like this, what a lot of people don't know or talk about is like, you think you're looking forward to the end and being home and seeing family so much, but when you finish, you almost get into this like low state as well, because you've known nothing but this pushing your body hard to the limit each day for like months on end, and you're singularly focused on this one goal. That's all you're focused on for like nothing else. Your car insurance back home doesn't matter, your tax, like you're worried about getting there. And
Yeah.
then once that's all over, it's kind of like you just feel like kind of lost with things.
Yeah.
I'm always like planning the next thing or like getting ready for what's coming up, but you definitely, like me personally, have experienced when you finish one of those, um, it can definitely be a lonely feeling for sure, and like you kind of feel purposeless or like, but that's when I just start planning the next ones. And it's better when you're around family or friends. Like if you finish and you have people there that you care about and care about you to help you like, celebrate the thing you've just done. But I remember when I was in Africa, like I finished and you have this thought of how something's going to be for, hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, like pursuing this goal. And then all of a sudden it's there, and then all of a sudden it's done. And I remember just being in a hotel room, like before I went home, like a couple days later, pack up my bike and all this stuff, and just sitting there, like getting all these kudos from people online and how amazing it was and all this and that. And I appreciated it so much. But again, it was just like me in this hotel room at the end being like, oh, I don't have to cycle tomorrow. Like, what do I do? And I just like sleep all day and like sit in there, and then you feel worse. So it's like, that's definitely part of it. I know, like I've heard Michael Phelps talk about that, like the post Olympic depression, and like
Mm-hmm.
you just feel kind of like purposeless. But that's also why I like to have so many different endeavors on the go. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
even if I had an injury on my legs or something, I'd just get in the pool and like start training the pool. If I had an arm injury, get on the bike or run, or like, I'm always trying to just keep things moving. And I think momentum's a big thing too. Like if you have momentum, like keep it up, keep the
Mm-hmm.
ball rolling. But yeah, it's definitely tough when you finish one of those things and it's all of a sudden just over. Like I said, you never are expecting how the end's going to be. You have it in your mind one way. It's like my ride across America, I was picturing like we finished at our family's house on the beach in Maine. I went to San Francisco to Old Orchard Beach, Maine. It was like a first endeavor thing I ever really did. And I was expecting like, oh, it's gonna be such a nice time with my family there, and like I'm gonna jump in the water at the end, a sunny day, and it was like the worst day of the trip, freezing cold rain and just like miserable storming, and you get in
Mm-hmm.
there. And the same with like Africa. I was expecting to like pull into Cape Town and it'd be awesome. And then right before I got in, like 5 kilometers from the end, I was merging onto a road, and some guy ran out of the bushes and punched me in the face and tried to steal my phone off my bike because it was
Oh
on a phone
my
holder. And
God.
like I grabbed his wrist and we fell into the grass on the side of the road, and he was like hit me in the head, and I hit him in the nose, and then like jumped on the bike and kept going. But then all of a sudden the ride's done like 5-10 minutes later, and you're like, oh
That's
man, it doesn't even feel like you're,
insane.
yeah, like it's done, and now you're pissed off, and now you're like, but yeah, it's never, I think it's never how you expect it to be, but
Yeah.
it's how it's supposed to be. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how that one ended though.
Yeah. Wow. That is
Yeah.
quite the ending
Yeah.
there. But no, I do think it's important to talk about the lows of it, and
Yeah.
that is almost a part of the price you have to pay for doing stuff like this, because
Hmm.
I've definitely experienced that too. And the first time I was experiencing it, I had never heard people talk about that side of it when you just come back. And I find it hard to assimilate back into everyday life and
Yeah.
like have normal conversations with people. Like people are just talking and you're just thinking like in a different
Disassociated.
world.
Yeah.
Like they just don't get it. And I feel like it's hard to relate to people. And yeah, it takes like a couple weeks almost to assimilate back into normal life, which is crazy
Yeah.
because you think like, yeah, you just did this amazing thing and you want to feel the reward of it, but sometimes that's not really the reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like my motto is comfort breeds complacency. I think I landed on that because I remember cycling across America, and my friends tell me like, oh, that was a trip of a lifetime. Like if you don't want to do anything again in the future, like you always have that trip. Like that's awesome. I remember thinking like, man, I can't have peaked at like 20 years old. Like that can't be the best thing ever, right?
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, getting across, coming back home, and like having these thoughts and feelings of how it was on the trip, and then eventually you get back used to like the comforts of normal life and you can fall back into the normal routine.
Mhm.
um but I think that like comfort breeds complacency to me is like when you get used to those comforts of the normal life, you become
Mhm.
complacent. And I always want to like continue to do things because, like I said, when I was just in this on the Arizona Monster, my friend Ryan there, like you appreciate that really nice house and a nice warm bed and shower when you've had 5 days in an RV with people and 2 days on the trail straight.
Mhm.
So it's just like doing things, continuing to doing things to remind yourself that like you don't want to get too complacent, and the best memories and things come from when you're pushing yourself. And I remember
Mhm.
like one of the coaches I had back in triathlon, she was a big ultra person. She's done like every ultra. I remember she talked about this, saying like when you'd come back, people would be like, "Oh, like welcome back to real life. Like, how's it feel to be back?" And she was always say like real life was out doing that. Like that was like
Yes.
connecting to the world, connecting to like your DNA and you like striving to push towards what's possible for you, and striving to see what's the best. And yeah, I remember coming, especially from Africa, because like I felt, I was always around people over there because there's people like everywhere. It's very like
Mhm.
densely populated, a lot of those countries, and people like live alongside the roads. But it's like I still felt like lonely kind of because I was like most of the time the only white person. I didn't speak the language a lot of the time. So it was like you could have a ton of people around you, but you felt like different, I
Mhm.
guess. I remember coming home and being just like I hadn't really talked to anybody for like months, I guess. So it was like, yeah,
Mhm.
normal conversations were very like weird. I just get like disinterested quick and like
Yeah.
the normal nonsense of mundane life, I
Yeah.
guess. It's like all I wanted to talk about was like these experiences I had, or like wanting to bring friends on these experiences, or like you guys should
Yeah.
do something like this, like we should plan something. But it was just like, yeah, it was just hard to like get back into normal conversations. I guess I just didn't have them for like months on end, which is
Yeah.
kind of not usual, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like you realize how many distractions there are that just mean nothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I would rather sit there and talk about ideas or things to do or like how to level up from that than just every distraction that we're bombarded with that is normalized. And I really try to push back against that. Like I always say, like I think society as a whole is pretty sick because I think that there's just so many distractions thrown at us and so many people just accept it as the
Yeah.
norm. And then they say that's the norm and what you're doing is crazy.
Yeah.
And the more I get into this stuff, like I used to be like, when people would be like, oh, you're crazy, I'd be like, oh, yeah. And now the more I get into this, I'm like, I actually think I'm the most sane.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I
I
agree.
think that is crazy to buy all this nonsense that is pushed down our throat as normal. Like, I just won't accept that that's normal. I don't think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can see like it can be tough being in a, like I said, if that's all you're surrounded by, like you get pulled into it. And that's why I like to keep doing things, because I mean, it could be easy to just like come back and get back into a normal routine of things. And then kind of like when I did Africa and I came back, it almost felt like it didn't even happen. Like you're just right
Mm-hmm.
back in it. It's like you just had these such profound experiences, and like you can't even like t- like let people know how like it meant to you. It's like it's hard
Mm-hmm.
to explain what it actually meant. And then you get, not pulled back in, but like I said, you get uh just brought in to, I don't know, that normal life again. So I think it's, yeah, just continue to do things. And like you said, I feel like I think other people should try these things, and you don't have to do it Moab 240 off the start, but like
Mm-hmm.
just try and push. Like people say, like, oh, I can never do a marathon. It's like if you just start walking and don't stop, you can do the marathon.
Yeah.
Like I think most people could do that. It's like I think you'd be surprised by what you can push your body to if you just like say, no matter what, I'm going to walk 42 kilometers today,
Mm-hmm.
and like, or move my body that. If you want to run some, if you want to walk it, like, or if it's a half marathon, like whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
but just like whatever that level of an unachievable goal to you is, just try it. Like, what's the worst that's happened? You're
Yeah.
going to make it halfway and realize you can't do it. Well, can you go another step? Can you go another step? Just like keep going, keep going. And maybe you do fail, but you know, then just realize, like, go back to the drawing board, see what it was that caused the failure and combat it and come back. So, yeah.
100%. My closing question here. Do you think anything will ever be enough, or is there a finish line for you at all?
Yeah, I don't think my dad always says like life was like you're in the like the world's your classroom now after you've kind of finished high school and stuff. Like there's no finish line. It's just a journey, right? There's not the destination, that old saying, but it's like, I think it's true. And like seeing my dad or somebody that's older now, but he's still like super active. He's almost 80 years old, but he's still doing triathlons around the world competing. It's like the goals may shift, but I think there's always something to strive for. It's like you think about somebody who's 80 when you're, in your 20s, you think, oh, it's like old and decrepit and like you have no quality of life left. Where it's like, my dad is helping me on these endurance events. He's still as good of a cyclist as I am. Like, quite honestly, like there's so much life to live. And knowing that I've had all these experiences now by the time I'm 28, and I still got, as long as like no accident happened that kills me, another like 70 years, 60 years ahead of me of doing these things. I think like I'm going to do this in one aspect, one way or another. I'm going to keep doing things. They might have to shift, like as you get older, like your body might not be able to do, Moab 240s, but whatever I can do, I'm going to do. And yeah, I don't think there's a finish line. I think it's just, taking the lessons you learned from the last one and implementing in there, but into the future. But I think it's cool to, have something to always strive for, and to, have this wealth of knowledge, and then to be able to share it with other people, and maybe like bring the people who didn't think they could do things and try and use the knowledge you have to help them in the future. Or like your
Mm-hmm.
friends who, like I said, they may have never ran before, never thought they could do that, but then you being the one to utilize your knowledge to help them start, and maybe they start to do different things that change their life. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think there's a finish line. I'm always thinking about what's next, even when I'm on the endeavor I'm on. So it's like, yeah, it's just the way my brain goes. I'm addicted to it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that is amazing. I can't wait to see everything you're still going to do and go on to achieve. And thank you for coming on and getting real and inspiring so many people, including myself, to go out there and do things and just start with the first step and figure out the rest.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you for having me on. Yeah, it means a lot.
Absolutely.